Journey to the West, an audio drama series. Chapter 35, Part 1. We speak of how great sage Sun used his brilliant ways and took possession of the monster's true treasure. Having it tucked in his sleeve, he said happily, "When the unruly monsters tried to capture me, it was what they call fishing the moon out of water. But if Elder Sun wished to capture you, it would be like melting ice with fire." He then hit the gourd and sneakily went out the door before showing his true form to shout in a loud voice, "Monster spirits, open up the gates!" From the side, an imp asked, "Who are you? How dare you shout here?" Xingzhou replied, "Quickly report to your lousy old monsters that Xingzhou Sun is here." The imp dashed inside to report, "Great King, there is some Xingzhou Sun person outside the door." The elder monster was shocked and said, "My wise younger brother, this is bad. We've poked their entire beehive. The flashy golden rope now has Sun Xingzhe tied up. The gourd now has Zhe Xingsun bottled up inside. How could there be another Xingzhe Sun? I bet all his brothers have come." The younger monster said, "Relax, big brother. This gourd of mine can hold up to 1,000 people. I only have one Zhe Xingsun captured inside. What is there to fear about some Xingzhe Sun? Let me go out and have a look before taking him in all the same." The elder monster said, "Be very careful, brother." Look at the younger monster with his fake gourd in hand. In the same manner as before, he walked out with a mighty air before shouting, "Where are you from? How dare you shout here?" Xingzhe said, "Do you not recognize me? Mountain of flower and fruit is my home. Water curtain cave is my ancestry. Only for havoc in the heavenly palace I ceased to strive for years many. I was fortunately freed from my ordeals. I abandoned Taoism and followed the monk's goals. For my religion, we are heading up Thunderclap. It's scriptures as well as true enlightenment that we seek. Having encountered lousy wild monsters, I used my magical feats, returned the great tongue monk to me, so that we can head west, where Buddha may be. The two parties shall stop fighting, and shall guard our respective paths of peace. Do not force Elder Sun into irritation, or else I will cause harm to your decrepit being." The monster replied, "Come over here for now. I won't fight you, but if I call your name, do you have the courage to answer it?" Xingzhe laughed and said, "If you call my name, I will answer it, but if I call your name, will you do the same?" The monster said, "I will call your name because I have this treasure gourd that can trap people inside. When you call my name, what have you?" Xingzhe answered, "I've got a gourd as well." The monster said, "If so, take it out for me to see." Xingzhe pulled the gourd from his sleeve and said, "Insolent monster, look." He flashed it for a bit before hiding it back inside his sleeve, fearing the monster would snatch it. Astonished, the monster asked, "Where did his gourd come from? How is it exactly like mine? Even if they grew from the same vine, there should still be some difference in size and shape. How could they look exactly the same?" Putting on a serious face, he asked, "Xingzhe Sun, where did your gourd come from?" Xingzhe honestly did not know the origin of the gourd, so he turned the question around to ask, "Well, where did your gourd come from?" The monster had no idea that this was a trick, thinking this was an honest question, so he answered from the very beginning. "This gourd of mine was born when the chaos first divided, separating heaven and earth. One supreme and venerable patriarch, through the goddess named Nuwa, forged stones to repair the broken skies and save the mortal world. When the repairing reached the palace of Qian and the grounds of Guai, which is the northwestern portion of the world that is closest to the straight north, by the foot of Mount Kunlun, an immortal vine was discovered. On it grew this red gourd of purple gold. It is something the elder handed down till now." The great sage heard this and mimicked his tone to explain, "Well, my gourd is also from there." The monster had asked, "How so?" The great sage explained, "Since the clear and the chaotic first separated, there wasn't enough heaven in the northwest and not enough earth in the southeast. The supreme and venerable patriarch of Taoism therefore created Nuwa to repair the imbalance of the world. When he walked to the foot of Mount Kunlun, he found an immortal vine where 2 gourds grew. I've got the male one, and yours is female. The monster said, Speak not of female or male. As long as it can trap people inside, it is a good treasure. The great sage said, You're right. I will let you try to capture me first. Delighted, the monster leapt into the air before holding the gourd to call, Xing Zhe Sun. The great sage heard that and answered 8 to 9 times in a row without taking a break to breathe. But the gourd did not take him. The monster dropped to the ground before stomping his feet and beating his chest, saying, Oh heavens! No wonder they say the facts of the world never change. Even a treasure like this is afraid of their husband. The female saw the male and lost the courage to bottle anything in. Xing Zhe laughed and said, Put yours away for now. It's Elder Sun's turn to call your name. Quickly unleashing a somersault, he jumped up and pointed the bottom of the gourd skyward and its opening downward. Aiming it straight at the monster's spirit, he shouted the name, Great King Silverhorn! The monster dared not keep his mouth shut and answered once, and with a whoosh, he was sucked inside before Xing Zhe sealed the gourd with the standard spell. Secretly delighted, he said, My dear child, time for you to try something new today. And so he descended from his cloud with the gourd in hand. Thinking of nothing but saving his master, he made his way again towards the entrance of the lotus flower cave. The paths on the mountain were quite bumpy. Moreover, he did not walk with straight legs. And as he moved in uneven steps, the gourd shook non-stop, letting out sloshing noises. Where did the sloshing come from? It was the case that Great Sage Sun's body went through intense forging and refining and therefore could not be quickly dissolved. The monster, on the other hand, might be able to summon clouds and mist, but those were only magical tricks. It could be that he never fully transcended his mortal body, therefore he ended up melting inside the treasure. Xing Zhe could not quite believe that he had already melted. He laughed and said, Oh, my son, I don't know if you're pissing or gargling. These are all tricks Elder Sun did before. Within 7 or 8 days you will become pus, and I will not unseal the gourd for a look. What's the hurry? What's so urgent? Think about how easy I got out. It's a better idea to never look in 1,000 years. He kept talking to the gourd when, without realizing, he arrived at the cave entrance. He then shook the gourd to make some noise before saying, It sure sounds like the bamboo tubes used for divination. Maybe this is a good time for some fortune-telling. Let Elder Sun make a guess and see when Master can leave this place. Look at him, shaking the gourd non-stop in his hands as he muttered on and on the names of legendary divination masters. King Wen of Zhou, who created Yi Jing, Confucius the Sage, Master Lady Peach Blossom, Master of Ghost Valley. The imps from the cave saw him and said, Great King, bad news! Xing Zhe Sun has Kindred Law the second Great King trapped in the gourd and is using it for divination. The elder monster heard that and became so frightened his soul shattered and his body went numb. As he crashed to the ground with a slump, he wailed, Oh, my wise younger brother, you and I secretly left the realm above together before turning to this world of mortal dust. All we hoped for was to share glory and wealth as we forever rolled this mountain cave. Who could have thought that your life would be harmed because of this monk? And now my brotherly love has been severed. All the imps from the cave joined in sorrowful crying. Meanwhile, Zhu Bajie still hung from a beam when he heard the whole family crying together. He couldn't help but shout out, Monster spirits, don't you cry. Allow the old boy to tell you something. The Sun Xing who came first, Zhe Xing Sun who came second, and the Xing Zhe Sun who came last are all just playing around with the same 3 characters by my elder brother alone. He's got 72 transformations at his disposal. That's how he came inside to steal the treasure and trapped your brother. Your brother is already dead, but there is no need to be this mournful. Quickly wash up your pots and stoves, gather some mushrooms, bamboo shoots, bean curds, and vegetables before inviting us down, so we can recite a scroll of suture of long life and deliverance of the dead for your brother." The elder master heard that, and his heart was filled with rage, shouting, "They all say Zhu Bajie is quite the honest type, but it turns out to be the opposite. He's even making jokes to mock me now." He then ordered the imps, "Quit mourning for the time being. Bring Zhu Bajie down and steam him until he is soft and tender. Once I fill my stomach, I will seek vengeance from Sun Xingzhe." Sha Monk complained to Bajie, "Isn't that nice? I told you to stop talking so much. The one who talks the most gets steamed and eaten first." The fool finally had a sense of fear in him. Then an imp said from the side, "Great King, Zhu Bajie is hard to steam." Bajie exclaimed, "Namo Amitabh. Which big brother is here to accumulate virtues for the afterlife? I am indeed hard to steam." Another monster spirit suggested, "Skin him first, then he will be easy to steam." Panicking, Bajie said, "I am easy to steam, very easy. My skin and bones may be rough, but they break apart as soon as the soup boils. I was reared in captivity, after all, captivity." Just as they were shouting at each other, an imp came from the front door to report, "Xingzhe Sun is throwing insults at the door again." The elder monster said in astonishment, "This creature thinks we haven't got anyone useful here." He ordered, "Young ones, hang up Zhu Bajie as before. Check to see how many treasures we have left." The housekeeping imps replied, "There are 3 treasures left in the cave." The elder monster asked, "Which 3?" The housekeeping imps answered, "They are the 7-star sword, the banana leaf fan, and the immaculate vase." The elder monster said, "The vase is of no use. It used to be that when you called someone's name and they answered, they were trapped inside. But the spell was taught to that Sun Xingzhe, resulting in my own brother being sucked inside. Let's not use that and keep it at home. Quickly bring me the sword and fan now." The housekeeping imps swiftly brought the 2 treasures to the elder monster. He tucked the banana leaf fan into the collar behind his neck and wielded the 7-star sword in his hand. Then he made a roll call for all the imps big and small, totaling over 300. He had each of them pick up a weapon, from spears to sticks, from chains to knives. The elder monster, on the other hand, had a helmet of full armor covered with a silk robe the color of burning flames. The imps created formations and aimed to capture Great Sage Sun. Great Sage Sun was well aware that the younger monster had melted inside the gourd, so he had it firmly tied to his waist before holding his golden hooked rod to prepare for battle. What he saw was the elder monster jumping from the gate with red flags flying around him. How was he dressed? The tassel on his helmet shimmered and lit. The lashes on his waist were bright as rainbow mist. Wearing armor that was built with dragon scales, on top of which wrapped a robe red like burning flames. His round eyes opened, flashing lightning, his steel whiskers curled up, puffing fumes. Holding the 7-star sword in hand with ease, half covering his shoulders, was the fan made of banana leaf. He walked like flowing clouds leaving mountains and seas. Like thunder, his voice shook rivers and peaks. Awesome enough to defy heavenly generals, angrily he led from the cave a group of imps and beasts. The elder monster quickly ordered the imps to spread their formation before yelling, "You monkey are so very insolent! You harmed my brother and hurt my kin. How very despicable!" Xingzhe retorted, "You, monster, are begging for death. You can't even let go of one monster spirit's life, but people like my master and younger brothers, 4 lives if you count the horse, are hanging in the cave for no reason at all. How can I stand that? How does this even make sense? Hurry up and bring them back to me before aiding our journey. You had better send us off on a good note, and only then will I consider sparing your worthless life, you old monster." The monster was in no mood for arguing and hacked right at the head with his treasure sword. The Grey Sage raised his iron rod to fight back. What a brilliant battle outside the cave entrance. Yikes! Their weapons crashed like lightning. The battlefield was cold and dim. One spared no mercy for a brother, the other could not take a break because of a monk. The grievance was shared, but the hate was unalike. They battled till every creature was startled, gritting teeth like filing nails of jade, glaring eyes shut out flames of gold. Back and forth they tried to outdo each other. Flips and turns were endless for the rod and sword. The elder master fought against the great sage for 20 rounds and managed a tie. Pointing with the tip of his sword, he shouted, "All the imps, come forward!" Those imps, counting 300 and more, swarmed forward together and surrounded Xingzhe at the center. Splendid great sage! He was obviously unafraid. With one rod, he charged left and right, dodged from the front and back. Those imps all had some abilities, and the more they fought, the more they piled up. Like cotton fiber clinging to the body, they grabbed his waist and pulled on his legs, with none backing down. The great sage panicked and immediately used the trick of body beyond body. Plucking a handful of hair from below his left arm, he chewed them into bits before spitting them out and yelling, "Change!" Every single one of them transformed into a Xingzhe. Look at them. The longer hairs used rods, while the shorter ones threw fists. The even smaller ones could not find a place to land an attack, so they just grabbed on the shanks and began gnawing. All those imps were beaten till they scattered like stars and clouds. Together they cried, "Oh, great king, it's terrible. It's all downhill from here. The entire place is filled with Sun Xingzhe." With the body beyond body trick, the imps were sent into retreat, leaving behind only the elder master trapped in the middle. He tried to escape east and west, but there was no door for him to exit. The monster went into panic, so he held the treasure sword with his left hand as his right hand reached behind his neck to take out the banana leaf fan. Summoning fire from the southeast direction, he waved the fan directly towards the south. With a loud sweep, the ground began burning with bright flames. It turned out that this treasure could produce fire with a sweep out of nowhere. That monster was truly heartless. He waved 7 to 8 times in a row, heating heaven and earth with flying flames. Splendid fire! This fire is not fire from the skies, or fire from a furnace, or fire from a mountain, or fire from under the stove. It is in fact a bit of magical fire naturally derived from the 5 faces. This fan was also not a common item of the mortal world or anything man-made. It is a rare treasure born from the time when chaos first separated. Upon using this fan to start a fire, the bright flames will be as brilliant as red bolts of lightning and layered hues of mist. Not a single wisp of smoke will be present, for only red fire will cover the mountains. Pines on the ridges have turned into fire trees. Cypress by the cliff were now lanterns. Walking beasts in their dwellings, wishing to survive, run in all directions. Flying birds of the forest treasure their feathers, so they fly high and far. This magical fire swept through the skies as rocks broke open, streams dried up, and the entire ground turned red. The great sage saw this terrifying fire, and even he felt rather frightened, muttering, "This is bad. My original body can pull through this, but not my hair. Once they fall into the fire, wouldn't they just burn as easily as actual hair?" So he shook his body and withdrew all the hair with the exception of just one, which turned into a fake version of himself to suffer the fiery calamity in his place. His real body, meanwhile, recited the fire-repelling spell before unleashing the somersault cloud. Leaping high up, he escaped the great fire and headed for the lotus flower cave, thinking about saving his master. He quickly made it to the entrance and descended from the cloud. What he saw were 100 or so imps by the door, who were all quite battered from head to toe. They were all hurt by his body beyond body trick. Hence all the moaning, whimpering, and trying to stand up in pain. The great sage saw them and could not restrain his savage nature, so he wielded his iron rod and fought his way through. Poor things! All the merit and fruit that had brought them a human body was extinguished. What they ended up being were the same old pieces of fur they were before. The great sage got rid of all the imps before bursting into the cave to untie his master. What he saw were flames burning from the inside. Caught in a scurry, he became rather scared and said, "It's done, it's done. If the fire is burning from the back door, then it would be impossible for Elder Sun to save master." Just when he was drowned in fear, he looked more carefully. In fact, that was not the glow from a burning fire, but instead a beam of golden light. He calmed his mind and looked inside to find the immaculate vase of mutton-fat jade emitting light. Secretly overjoyed, he said, "What a fine treasure! That imp once brought this vase to the mountain where it gave off light. Elderson took it, but the monsters confiscated it again. It is hidden here now and in fact still glowing. Look at him, stealing the vase in the light without saving his master. Swiftly withdrawing and heading out of the cave, he only just got out the door when he saw the monster heading from the south, with the treasure sword and fan in his hands. Great Sage Sun could not dodge in time as the elder monster called out, 'Where do you think you're going?' He then raised his sword and hacked right at the head. The Great Sage hurriedly unleashed his somersault cloud and leapt away, escaping without a trace. We will speak no more on that."